all the students who've been participating in the conference. We hope you are gaining valuable information to support you in your career decision-making and preparation process. We are excited about this session in particular and about our distinguished guest, Dr. Cesar Cruz. To introduce Dr. Cruz, I would like to present my good friend and colleague, Juan Pablo Carrion, counselor and coordinator for PCC's Puente program. Juan Pablo.
Good evening, PCC familia. I hope that you and your loved ones are all well and safe. Thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to be here with us tonight. It is a great pleasure and privilege to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. From marching 76 straight miles to hunger striking for 26 days, Dr. Cesar Cruz has dedicated his life to fighting for social justice. Dr. Cruz was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, and grew up in South Central Los Angeles. He received his Bachelor's of Arts in History from Cal Berkeley and his doctorate in Educational Leadership from Harvard University. He has been an educator for over 20 years and most recently served as the Dean of Secondary Schools Programs at Harvard University. For the last 6 years, he has overseen the Homies Empowerment Program serving gang-impacted, involved youth in Oakland. Dr. Cruz and his amazing team at Homies Empowerment have provided an opportunity for all Bay Area residents to shop for free at their Freedom Store. This service gives community members an opportunity to collect toiletries and foods for their families. When I think of the meaning of social justice, Dr. Cruz's name comes to mind. Dr. Cruz is a champion for our community, and it's inconstable the work he has done and continues to speak tremendous volume. Seeing Dr. Cruz in spaces that weren't meant for us gives the community a lot of hope, because for many of us, the lack of resources and opportunities weren't available for us. What my Puentistas and I have learned from him is that building relationships and friendship is essential for communal growth, and it is always an honor to be in his presence. We stand on the shoulders of giants. That is why we are able to see further. Please help me welcome Dr. Cesar Cruz.
Blessings to you all. You know, just doing a little bit of Zoom check. Can you hear me okay? Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with all of you. I'm coming straight out of Oakland, California, where I've been for the last 30 years. And so it's just a pleasure and an honor to be here at Pasadena City College for this very important conference. And with your permission, I'm going to try to share my screen. And so let's take a look. Let's see if you are able to see it. Are you able to see my screen? Wonderful. Thank you so much. And so let's go ahead and get started. I know that we are at a career conference for Pasadena City College. And so the title of this presentation is called Waking or Walking Our Calling. What I'd like to do is I'd like to ask you permission to speak. And I brought you a little bit of sage that, if you give me permission, I want to light, because these are some difficult times. Here in Oakland, California, and throughout the state of California, we have been impacted so much by these fires. We have been dealing with a lot of social unrest and a world filled with anti-Blackness. We have been dealing with quarantine. We have been dealing with COVID-19, and it just seems like every other week and month, something new, a new layer unfolds in this year. And so I want to just light this sage for you. I want to thank you for being alive. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for everything that you do. It just means a lot to get to share this space with you. I also want to light this for our ancestors, because we come from all kinds of ancestors, but we have had ancestors that have faced genocide, that have faced occupation, that have faced war, that have faced mass deportations, and our ancestors have always found a way. And so this humble sage is an offering for the ancestors is an offering for all of you, is an offering for PCC. And I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to ask permission to speak. May it be useful in that good way. Gia, Carolina, thank you for your notes. Nikki, thank you for your notes as well. And for those that are coming in on the chat, Ometeo to you as well. With your permission, let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to try to do in less than an hour, if you can believe it, is we're going to talk about this idea of a path to our purpose. What is the difference between a career and a calling? If you give me permission, I'm going to humbly share about my career path and trying to figure out not how to do work or how to get a job or even a career, but how to answer my call through the fight for justice. And finally, we're going to try to bring together these circles that meet at the intersection of passion, mission, vocation, and profession. With your permission, can we get started? Bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Arian, for saying that. Bless you, Cynthia. All right. As you know, Pasadena City College has so many career pathways, and it's beautiful. Those of you that are current students or that are future students or even alumni, I know that we're also joined by our faculty, our staff, and then other visitors. And so thank you for being here. What I'd like to do is I'd like to get us started with someone who can unpack a little bit this concept, this notion of what is the difference between a career and a calling. And as you take a look at this very brief 90-second video, would you please jot down on the chat what is being highlighted for you? Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Selick. Let's get started. Give me just 1 second.
I've discovered then that the two most important days in my life are the day you're born and the day you find out why.
That's so
Those
important.
2 days are phenomenal days.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting because in the book you say there's your talent, but then there's your gift. And until you discover what your gift is, you are really sort of like aimlessly going through life. You're not really on purpose.
No, see, your talent, you can be a good accountant. You can be a good lawyer. That could be your talent.
Yeah.
But your gift is something. See, your talent will allow you to have a wonderful career. But this is what I've learned. Your career is what you paid for. Your calling is what you made for. Your calling is tied directly to your gift.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
So what is your gift? Let's help people distinguish between the two.
Okay. My talent is I'm funny. That's my talent. But it's also closely tied to my gift. And it took me a minute to learn. I'm gifted at humor. I can make anything funny. But I've learned that my actual gift is I can take information, transpose it immediately, and it comes out into humor. But I can take information, transpose it immediately, and come out in motivation. I can take information, transpose it immediately, and it comes out in inspiration. I can take information, transpose it immediately, and it come out in uplift. So my real gift, I thought it was just funny. But God didn't make me this just to be funny. He made me this for a calling.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I saw that on the chat. Justin said, I think a calling is what speaks to your passion. Maureen said, what's getting lifted up is talents and gifts. What I'm noticing from Karina, she says, calling brings you to your gift. Cecile says, and my calling evolves as someone who is on the other side of her career. Joelle says, finding our purpose in this case is our gift. Xochitl says, your gift is what would probably make you happy. It may or may not make you money. Powerful. Marisol says, we all have a gift, find it, and we can make a difference. Oh, I'm so glad I'm here. I shouldn't be offering this. Your wisdom is so key. And so with your permission, I'd like to continue. Now, what I'd like to lift up is a couple of things that Steve Harvey said. And the first one, he said, the two most important days of our lives, the day you were born and the day you found out why. It's the day we became consciously aware of our purpose. The second thing I would like to lift up is that a career is what you are paid for, and a calling is what you are made for. All of us, all of creation was made for a particular purpose. So the question that we have at this conference is, what were we made for? What is our calling? Now, I'm going to show you a longer video. And in this video, I want you to lean in. This is a poet named Prince Iya. And as you listen to Prince Iya, what I want to ask you is, what is getting highlighted for you here about the journey to uncover who we are and what we're called to do? Please take a look. And as you hear it, please type it in, and I'd love to lift it up after the video is done.
It is not death most people are afraid of. It is getting to the end of life only to realize that you never truly lived. There was a study done, a hospital study, on 100 elderly people facing death close to their last breath. They were asked to reflect about their life's biggest regret. Nearly all of them said they regretted not the things they did, but the things they didn't do, the risks they never took, the dreams they didn't pursue. I ask you, will your last words be, if only I hit, hey, you, wake up. Why do you exist? Life is not meant to simply work, wait for the weekend, and pay rent. No, I don't know much, but I know this. Every person on this earth has a gift. And I apologize to the Black community, but I can no longer pretend. Martin Luther King, that man never had a dream. That dream had him. See, people don't choose dreams. Dreams choose them. So the question I'm getting to is, do you have the courage to grab the dream that picked you, that befits you and grips you? Or will you let it get away and slip through? You know, I learned a fact about airplanes the other day. Now, this was so surprising. See, I was talking to a pilot, and he told me that many of his passengers think planes are dangerous to fly in. But he said, actually, it is a lot more dangerous for a plane to stay on the ground. I said, what? Like, how does that sound? Well, he said, because on the ground, the plane starts to rust, malfunction, and wear much faster than it ever would if it was in the air. As I walked away, I thought, yeah, makes total sense, because planes were built to live in the skies, and every person was built to live out the dream they have inside. So it is perhaps the saddest loss to live a life on the ground without ever taking off. See, most of us are afraid of the thief that comes in the night to steal all of our things. But there is a thief in your mind who is after your dreams. His name is doubt. If you see him, call the cops and keep him away from the kids, because he is wanted for murder, for he has killed more dreams than failure ever did. He wears many disguises, and like a virus will leave you blinded, divided, and turn you into a kinda. See, kinda is lethal. You know what kinda is. It's a lot of kinda people. You kinda want a career change. You kinda want to get straight A's. You kinda want to get in shape. Simple math, no numbers to crunch. If you kinda want something, then you will kinda get the results you want. What is your dream? What ignites that spark? You can't kinda want that. You gotta want it with every part of your whole heart. Will you struggle? Yeah, you will struggle. No way around it. You will fall many times, but who's counting? Just remember, there's no such thing as a smooth mountain. If you want to make it to the top, then there are sharp ridges that must be stepped over. There will be times you get stressed and things you get depressed over. But let me tell you something. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school 3 times, but he kept going. The television execs fired Oprah, said she wasn't fit for TV, but she kept going. Critics told Beyonce that she couldn't sing. She went through depression, but she kept going. Struggle and criticisms are prerequisites for greatness. That is the law of this universe, and no one escapes it. Because pain is life, but you can choose what type. Either the pain on the road to success or the pain of being haunted with regret. You want my advice? Don't think twice. We have been given a gift that we call life, so don't blow it. You are not defined by your past. Instead, you are born anew in each moment, so own it now. Sometimes you gotta leap and grow your wings on the way down. You better get this shot off before the clock runs out, because ain't no overtime in life, no do-over. And I know I sound like I'm preaching or speaking with force, but if you don't use your gift, then you sell not only yourself, but the whole world short. So what invention do you have buried in your mind? What idea, what cure, what skill do you have inside to bring out to this universe? Uni meaning one, verse meaning song. You have a part to play in this song. So grab that microphone and be brave. Sing your heart out on life stage. You cannot go back and make a brand new beginning, but you can start now and make a brand new ending.
Thank you, everybody. I'm seeing this amazing conversation that you're having on the chat. I want to try to read as many as I can. Carolina Medina says, your gift is what makes you who you are and who you become. Carmen says, not to live in fear, to take chances and have courage. Justin says, for me, this is the realization that I'm closer to 40 than 20. Still without a higher education degree. Me, I'm really glad I'm here. Raquel says, we have a purpose. Lismeth says, it's a wake-up call when you find out your health is in danger to make the biggest changes in our lives. That happens to me. Justin says, this realization says time is limited, but there's still time to better define ourselves. Yes. Ricardo sent me a really nice personal message, and now he's a counselor at PCC. What a blessing. Maureen says, I have a chronic condition and a recent scare. The original diagnosis and the recent scare made me think about living my life and balancing my life. Jackie says, this reminds me that I feel that my calling is teaching, and I wonder how I can incorporate this in my classroom. I need to find all the ways to ensure I help my future kids reach all their goals and dreams. Oh, Jackie, I want to be your student. Suhey says, while fear can be a warning for some things, it can also be an ego-based lie, keeping us from moving forward to do the things we really want to go after. Speak. Karina says she's screaming at work to live the dream and not the fear. Xochitl says to live is the legacy you leave behind. To live a life is the impression you have left on others. Justin says this is moving. Lizelle says purpose is needed to drive significant change and achievement. Jackie says this is why we need to teach growth mindset. Sharif says don't let any oppressors kill your dreams. Star says my adversity woke me to my dream. Maybe 2020 is the year when all adversity is coming at us and it is awakening us to our sacred purpose. Wayman says everybody dies, but not everybody lives. Reaching for your dreams confirms your life and your existence. But to do this, you must be different and go against the grain. Diana says we have been given a gift called life. Rebecca says not to live in fear of the unknown and to find the courage to take that leap. Live each day to the fullest because I don't have tomorrow. I only have this moment with you, and I know how priceless life is. So what risk will I take? How will I live with love? How will I go forward with my dreams? It goes on and on. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Keep them going. But with your permission, since I only have you for less than an hour, I'm going to continue. What I'd like to do is I'd also like to lift up just a couple of things that Prince Iya said. Address the thief that lives in our mind, and the thief has a name. Their name is doubt. And that universe simply means one song. What's your song? What's the song that you will sing? And we have an opportunity to create a brand new ending. And so I hear all of this and it's somewhat motivating. I'm not going to lie. I saw the video and it's inspiring. But then I think about, like, really? You want me to dream right now? You think I have a gift? I don't know that I do. I don't even know why I was born. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm going to take you a little bit of inside my life. And I wasn't feeling the dream. I was living a nightmare. These are some images that I have of when I was a little kid. Some of the few pictures that I have from my childhood. This is when the light was still on, when there was still joy in my life, but I began to carry certain words that were weighing me down like a ton of bricks. The first word that I carried, and I hate to use this word out loud, is that I'm a bastard. You see, my father left at an early age, and my last name is Cruz, but I don't know any Cruz that is related to me. I remember when I was 5, my mom was talking about this word migration, about going to the land of milk and honey. She was talking about this amazing place, y'all, where you don't need a women's movement because the rights of women are respected. You don't need immigrant rights. You don't need immigrant rights because the rights of immigrants are respected. There is no police brutality. No one is homeless and out on the streets. She was talking about this mythical place that we now know as the United States of America. And she went there without me. And I was only 5 years old, disconnected from my mommy. I remember when I was 9 and I reunited with her in Compton, California. And my mom said to me, "Mijo, tú eres ilegal. You're illegal." I didn't know what that meant. I don't know how we live in a society where some human beings are legal and some are illegal, but I quickly learned that I'm less than and not equal to you, that I'm an illegal and I should be called many names like wetback and so many other things that I have been called. I remember the first time mommy got deported. I was 9.5 years old. I don't wish this upon anybody. But in 2020, our people are still getting deported and babies are still getting snatched up at the border. So my story is nothing new. And today is supposedly Mexican Independence Day. And yet oftentimes we're not independent, but we're still independents. You know, I became both perdido and lost. I was lost even to my own history. You don't have to be Mexican, Mexican-American, Chicano, Latino, raza to read this book. This is a powerful book. Thank you, Don, for saying speak truth, fam. Thank you, Sheila. This book is called Subtractive Schooling. I didn't know that many of us have had our lives subtracted for us. If you're African American, Asian American, Chicano, Latino, Native American, if you're a woman, if you're poor, oftentimes your history is not taught in school. You're not taught about your heroes, your history, your culture, your pride, your language. I can't even speak my own language. I don't even know how to pronounce the word Nahuatl or Quechua or Tzotzil. My indigenous languages have been taken from me, and they've been taken from so many of us that I don't even know where to go. And yet I have a powerful history like you have a powerful history. And I want to center a little bit on this Mexican Independence Day, the day I'm so lucky to be next to you, to share a little bit of that history, whether you're in Pasadena, in California, wherever you may be. You know, while I was thinking I was living a nightmare, Silvia Mendez, this young lady, was fighting for a dream to come true. This young lady helped to desegregate all public schools in California in the famous case Mendez versus Westminster. It is because of her that Pasadena City College is diverse. It is because of her that so many of us have jobs. So thank you, Silvia Mendez. And I know you're still alive and you're an elder in our community. I just didn't know. Thank you, Doctora Cynthia Olivo. You know, when I look at this map and it has Pasadena in it, and it says it's Mexico, I'm wondering, how long is this? And my grandmother said, "Mijo, this map is 2 grandmothers ago." You see, just 2 grandmothers ago, you had to pronounce the names like this: California, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Nuevo Mexico. See, mijo, I know that they've called you an illegal alien and now you're undocumented. But you see, mijo, you in fact did not cross the border, but the border crossed you. And we need to talk about what's called historical facts. Indigenous people to California are also the Mexicans or the Mexicas. And that's important to understand. And all of a sudden, my vertebrae started standing up, not because I think of myself higher than you know, but for the first time, I stopped being your illegal alien, your wetback, your foreigner. I could finally be equal to you. You know, this is a powerful quote from the author and the poet Alice Walker. The most common way we give up our power is by thinking we have none. And for too long, I was not going to graduate high school. I was not going to go to community college. I was not going to pursue that top career. I was not going to get a doctorate. I was not going to live my life's calling because I didn't think I had any power. But you have power. You have Harriet Tubman power, Malcolm X power, Fannie Lou Hamer power, Lolita Lebron power, Sylvia Mendez power. You have so much rooted history in your power. Many of you come from Kemet, from Egypt, from Teotihuacan, from Tikal, from Machu Picchu. You are architects and astrologers. You are anthropologists and mathematicians, and now I can't pass algebra in my PCC class. What has happened? But how do I come back to that wisdom? Thank you, Danielle. Oh. And then I came to this fence, this border. I was 17 years old, about to be the first in my family to graduate from high school. And I'm really hoping that my mom is here in the US to celebrate with me. And this border is real, and this border is intense. And I got really scared. Fear paralyzed me because I had an illegal alien state of mind. It wasn't about my legal status or my documentation. It's the lies that I believed about being a so-called illegal in my own ancestral homeland, in your ancestral homeland. Thank you, Kirsten. And so I had to deal with this fear. And my mom said this to me, Mijo, you can't just focus on the 20-foot border. You gotta be willing to see the invisible 21-foot ladder. And you see, that's a metaphor, my people, because in every situation, poverty, homelessness, COVID, fires, those are major 20-foot borders. But you carry an ancestral, intergenerational wisdom 21-foot ladder. And so it's got to get used. And as we think about career paths, I never thought I was going to be a writer, but I had to tell my stories in napkins, and I had to get a journal because these are difficult times and I needed to get out my pain and my frustration and my fear. And I didn't know that my journaling and my chicken scratch would lead to the publishing of my first book called Revenge of the So-Called Illegal Alien. And then about 30 years ago, I stepped into classrooms and I thought maybe I could be a teacher. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if I could do it. Like someone else on this thread said, maybe I want to be a teacher too. And I was like, should I answer the call? And these images are of over 25 years of the classrooms that I've been blessed to be a part of. They called me teacher, but they taught me so much more than I think I could have ever taught them. And then about 11 years ago, I began to work with other people and we formed an organization because we had a new dream. What would it mean to have a career and a life path that was about social justice? So we created an organization called Homies Empowerment. I want to show you the way CBS News describes what we do. And if you live in a neighborhood that is filled with violence or difficulty or hard times or kids are being demonized, might you dream about another world? It is possible. You can make it possible. Take a look at this very brief video from CBS News about our work.
In a tough East Oakland neighborhood where gang violence is a part of life, there is hope.
Come and join us for the dinner.
Old rivals cook up new friendships under Cesar Cruz, co-founder of the Homies Empowerment Program.
Y'all ready?
Cesar invites sworn enemies to cook and eat side by side every Wednesday night at the YMCA on 45th Avenue. Afterward, there's food for thought, a message of peace.
You can be a peaceful gang member. You can be someone who takes care of the community.
Take Adrian Arias and Nestor Ramirez. They live in rival neighborhoods, but discover they can find common ground. They share the grief gang violence can bring.
We could relate, like
the things we go through, but in a different way, you know? They're gonna go through the same pain that we go through, and it's all the same thing, you know? We're just going back at each other, and it's never gonna stop unless we stop ourselves. Psychologist.
He's come out in a lot of movies about norteños and gangs.
Cesar also teaches Latino history, not only at Homies Empowerment meetings, but also at a Rise High School in Oakland.
And what happens when I don't meet someone else's expectation?
Students say learning about Latino history for the very first time helps them dream big.
After you know that your race also has heroes, just like every other race, then it motivates you, and you know that it's possible.
Peace is happening in Oakland, and it's not just the stories of murder and violence. That's not the only thing happening in Oakland.
For helping Oakland's rival gang members take steps toward peaceful and productive lives, this week's Jefferson Award in the Bay Area goes to Cesar Cruz.
You know, I never did this for any kind of award. I had no idea that just following my passion, what I believe in, and trying something different will lead this direction. I want to read some of the quotes that are coming in. Catherine says, no one ever told me any of this before. Thank you. Kirsten says, yes, we write our own stories. We don't have to live the story others write for us. Christina says, I came from Asia. And she says some nice, kind words to me. It makes her think about extremely making a difference. Gottman says some really nice things. Maureen, thank you. Justin says, I didn't know this. Juan Pablo, thank you for your kind words. And with your permission, I'd like to continue, because when we think about academic challenges, I had been an educator and I worked, it took me almost 17 years to get my bachelor's degree from 3 community colleges and then 2 UCs. So I was teaching as Mr. Cruz, and I was helping 19 years worth of high school students graduate from high school, but I didn't have a master's degree, y'all. I didn't have a doctorate, and I was kind of scared. I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I should go after it. And the student said to me, my student said, Mr. C, you keep saying school matters. How come you're not going after your dreams anymore? And they caught me, y'all, and I felt kind of embarrassed. And I'm gonna be honest, I got a little bit scared of the GRE. I got a little bit scared of grad school. I got a little bit scared of the unknown. And then they started telling me about this place that you know about, I didn't know about, called Harvard University. It's where President Obama went. It's where President Kennedy went. I'm like, there's no way, come on, y'all. You want me? A Mexicano, undocumented, took me 17 years and 3 community colleges and 2 UCs to get my bachelor's degree. Me apply to Harvard to get a doctorate, to pursue my career, to stand up for what I believe in? Nah, you're crazy. And then this happened.
My name is Jasmine Preciado. I am Cesar's wife. You can't put in words how proud I am. Harvard is so known throughout, you know, internationally.
So it's a new program. It's only 3 years old. It's called a doctorate in educational leadership. They only accept 25 people a year. For me, I just feel extremely honored that they've never had a Mexican immigrant male in the program. It just means a lot to our people, to our family, to my students, because it's like, oh, well, my teacher's going to Harvard. My name is Cesar Cruz. I'm the co-founder of the Homies Empowerment Program. It's a program here in Oakland, California, an independent organization. I'm also the dean of students at Arise High School. A lot of our people come from kinships and tribal societies where we're united. We're a community, not this individualistic Horatio Alger, survival of the fittest, one person at the top. No, communities.
He actually is a motivation, and he's like my, let's say, my hero.
Can I brag about your book? What we're working on is we're working on a book, and so what they're doing is they're peer editing. I want to celebrate their voice, so they're working on their bios, their stories, their journal, and we're calling it Youth Wisdom. As cheesy as this looks, I'll end with this. There's some hidden gifts that we've been given. Every single one of us have. Imagine when young people find their hidden gifts, when they look at their past go through the process of healing and see it differently, man, a new world is possible. That's what we try to teach young people. This particular class, as hard as it's been, is my last class after 19 years. And I feel a duty to them to impart whatever I can, to leave whatever I can, and then they got to carry it out.
I feel so good because my dad is going to Harvard. I'm going to be going to school there.
By no means do I share this in any way to brag. On the contrary, as you're sending me nice comments, I want to send them right back to you. I want you to hear how amazing you are. Patricia says, I yearn to be a lifelong learner, to never stop learning something new. Liliana talks about the energy and the story for today. I know you have it in you, Liliana. Sharif, this is in you. Jacqueline says, si se puede. Liliana, keep shining that light. Please keep shining your light. Justin says, I realized I stopped learning a few years ago. This is why at nearly 40, I need to be a student again, a student for life. Yes, Justin, you're an inspiration. And Doctora Micaela, that I was so honored to get to go to undergrad with at UC Berkeley. Doctora Mares Tamayo gave a nice shout out to my wife and kids, and just thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for the other comments. And so this is not about me, but I'm hoping to shine a light on what's possible. And we don't stop there, right? And so one of the couple of lessons that I want to share from my experience at Harvard University is a lot of us have heard of the term code switch. I walk into a room, somebody walks into a room who's a woman in a male-dominated space. A person of color walks into a room in a white-dominated space, et cetera, where you are, quote unquote, the minority, or you've been minoritized, and you feel like you have to code switch, like the dominant language speaks differently and you have to fit in. Well, that's horrible, because when you have to fit in, you begin to get impacted by sexism, by classism, by colonialism, by racism, and it impacts every which way. One of those ways is something that the medical field calls racial battle fatigue. If you're in a space where every time you walk in, you feel uncomfortable, you hear certain jokes, what they now call micro or small aggressions, and you're combating that every day, you pay a tax for being there. Some of our community members have their hair falling out, they're having physiological responses, they're in deep stress, and they're always needing to quote unquote fit in, or you're not welcomed here. Well, my suggestion to you, when you go to Harvard or any other university that you deserve to, as you do, you're in a great institution at Pasadena City College. I can't wait to celebrate your AA degree. And when you transfer to wherever you want to go, I never want you to code switch. I want you to code bridge. What's the difference? When you switch, you got to almost turn off who you are to fit in. Never do that. But when you code bridge, you know who you are. You know your history. You know where you come from. You are proud of who you are. You are learning your languages and your ways, and you walk in and you carry your ancestral wisdom into that space, but you can speak their language and you're going to teach them to speak yours. Humbly, this is what I'm trying to do today. I know I had to prepare well. I know I had to do a PowerPoint. I knew I had to communicate a certain kind of way, but I'm not going to speak a different way. I'm not going to code switch for you. I'm going to bridge my cultura, where I come from, my roots, my nopal, on this Mexican Independence Day, and I'm going to come with it the way you come with it. I am in Lakesh. I am a reflection of you. We are reflections of each other. So show up as your most anointed self. Show up humble, show up hungry, show up knowledgeable, show up with wisdom, show up. And I know at first it may seem uncomfortable. Make them uncomfortable. Speak your truth and find your voice. It is absolutely critical. And I'm not saying that it is easy, but it starts with knowing who we are, knowing thyself. I see a lot of comments coming in. Thank you so much for your comments. And with your permission, I'm going to continue just a little bit. Sheila says, thank you. I never code switch. I love it. Now, how do we dream during COVID, during a Great Depression, during so much going on in our lives? I want to show you what we're doing here in Oakland, California, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of an uprising, in the middle of mass poverty. I want to show you what we're doing because your dreams can be alive right now. This is a news report from CBS News talking about what's going on in the Bay Area, but it's also happening in Southern California and all throughout the world. And what we can do during these times, we could still follow our career, our calling on our plight for justice. Take a look.
The line is long, blocks long down MacArthur Boulevard. They are here for the free food, distributed by our old friend, Dr. Cesar Cruz.
These are hardworking people, Bay Area residents who are the fabric of our community, who now have lost their jobs and are sort of feeling like there's no hope.
A former Jefferson Award winner, we revisited Dr. Cruz last year when his organization, Homies Empowerment, began building a high school around a storefront in East Oakland. Now, every Tuesday, it becomes a food bank he calls the Freedom Store.
The last time you came, you saw all of our shelves filled with amazing history books. And now it's filled with canned goods, with corn, with rice, with beans, with oatmeal. We had to trade in the books for food because one of the neighbors said to us, I love your books, don't get me wrong, but I can't eat them.
The latest numbers show a dramatically sharp decline. 14.9% unemployment nationwide for full-time workers, 22.4% if you include part-timers.
During the Great Depression, we had about 25%, but it took 4 years to hit 25%. We're at 22.4%, and it's only 3 months.
Dr. Jack Rasmus is a professor of economics at St. Mary's College. Despite the similarities, Dr. Rasmus says technically this moment in time does not qualify to be a depression.
We are definitely in a great recession. In other words, an abnormally deep and rapid contraction of the real economy. But if you look at history, depressions are always associated with financial crashes as well.
But for all the people in line at the food bank, it's all semantics.
Yes, it is a depression for them. If you're going to line up at a food bank, it's a depression. It's a soup kitchen. And now the food banks are the modern soup kitchens of the 1930s.
This is the new Great Depression. But you don't have to be so depressed about it.
Dr. Cruz says he and his volunteers have been able to run the food bank on the goodwill of the community, but donations are beginning to run out just as the lines are getting longer. Still, he says there is cause for hope.
We survived the Great Depression, and we did so by building a safety net for all. Homies Empowerment is a very humble, small safety net run by volunteers. We will survive COVID-19, but we need to do it interconnected as one human family, as one Bay Area family, working together to help each other out.
In Oakland, Joe Vasquez, KPIX 5.
The Homies Empowerment Freedom Store has been able to share a week's worth of food for a number of families. If you're able to donate any items to the store, you can reach them at homiesempowerment.co.
And so as we start to realize that I get to have you for only about 15 more minutes, I wish we could be here forever, but want to honor your time. I want to spend some time with this important diagram. And as we get closer to this moment in time together, and as I share this diagram, what I'd like to ask you, that hour almost flew with us. We're almost at time. Would you share a takeaway? Would you share something maybe you heard or you felt that resonated with you? If you have a question, you can ask it on here. And if we have time, we'll get to it. I'd like to read as many comments after this as possible. But what are some takeaways as we think about this idea of a career in a career conference? What do you think about Pasadena City College taking a chance and doing a keynote like this? What does this have to do with careers and this idea of a calling and this notion of what are our gifts and what is our purpose? And so as we do, I want to show you these circles, because I think at the intersection of these circles is where our career lives, but our career is actually our purpose in life. How do we do what we love? How do we do something that we're good at? How do we do something that we could actually be able to be paid for? And how do we do something that the world needs? As you dream about that, what you're dreaming about is connecting your passion, your mission in life, your profession, and your vocation. And in the middle of all of that is your purpose. For me, I'm still trying to figure out mine, but I love my community. I say it takes a barrio. I believe the world needs good education. I believe the world needs access to food and basic supplies. Sometimes I actually get paid for teaching. I get paid for speaking. And what I'm good at, I don't always know because I'm battling self-esteem issues that came to me by the empire. See, the empire taught me that I was less than. The empire taught me that I was an illegal alien. And so when you give me compliments, I still struggle because I have a hard time believing them. So I'm not perfectly at my purpose. I'm still trying to figure out why I was born, why I'm here, but I'm in that journey. I'm now 46 years old and I'm still trying to figure it out. And so I honor you. I thank you, all of you that have already figured out your path. For me, it's somehow connected to being a husband as we're celebrating our 19-year anniversary. It's somehow connected to being the father that I never had as I'm celebrating getting to raise 3 poems, 3 children. I have a 9-year-old in Quetzali, I have an 11-year-old in Amaru, and a 13-year-old in Olin. I hope I get to be an educator. I love learning. I love poetry. I love learning about my history. And now I'm loving mental wealth. I didn't know what mental wealth was. I just had mental health storms. What about for you? What are you passionate about? What do you think your mission is? Where are you going to impact the world? And I know it's hard to believe this, but we had a Great Depression and we survived it. We've had genocide and Holocaust, multiple Holocausts, and we have survived all of them. We are going to survive these fires. We are going to survive COVID-19. We are going to survive 2020. This is the time for dreamers. This is the time for taking off. And so as I close, I want to close with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, is that our role in life is actually a pretty simple one. Is to comfort the disturbed and to disturb the comfortable. What I'd like to do is before closing is close with some of your words and see what you have shared so far. Give me 1 second as I'm scrolling up. I cannot believe all the amazing comments. Carlos, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Let's see. Shelby says, it's crucial to recognize the importance of history and sharing our stories while also recognizing the narrative that we have to tell and live. Yes, we use the Venn diagram in our career appointment conversations with students at PCCC. Jacqueline's already doing it and PCC's already doing it. Carlos says, I hear my duty is to continue serving my community and opening doors for their success wherever their passion may lead them. That's beautiful. Justin says, I have adopted my higher education as my next career, intimately being influenced by perspective and knowledge, development, and growing is key. Sharon says that hearing my story was an inspiration. She's currently in school to obtain an AS degree. Go, Sharon, hoping to transfer to a university one day and obtain her BA. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your kind words. I won't repeat them, but I'll hold them to my heart. Cindy says some really, really nice things. She appreciated the notion of code bridging. And she appreciated an opportunity to be vulnerable. Star says we have to decolonize and rise. Thank you, Tanisha. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Laura. Jackie says, do we have any references to books that you recommend for a future teacher? Yes, right away. 3 of them. Lies My Teacher Told Me, The Miseducation of the Negro, and Subtractive Schooling. Jackie, you read those 3 and we're gonna be all right. And that's my cell phone and that's my email, Jackie, so I can't wait to talk further. Patricia says there is power in unity. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Cindy says some really beautiful things. Thank you so much. Justin affirms. Justin is my mirror. And Justin says that I'm an educator, like Justin's an educator. Thank you, Carmen. Jackie loves that proverb. Alejandra says education is empowering. Fabian says what I'm taking away is that we just need to keep trying. Trying what? Anything. Standing still. I want to talk about that in a second. Not asking questions, staying quiet is not living. We have to be persistent. Sergio says, learning about my culture and history is an important step to mold who I will be and what I can do to give back when I'm equipped. Thank you for those kind words. Lucas says, after hearing so many great panelists, listen, PCC, you're awesome. In the last 2 days, I'm personally inspired to find a way to volunteer, yes, and contribute to the community and finding a way to link that with my career in law. Be a rebel lawyer, Lucas. And if you don't know what rebel law is, look it up. It's a field of law. Be a rebel lawyer. I know there are so many ways to serve others, and that's what this world needs more than ever. Yes, Lucas, you are the rebel lawyer that we've been looking for. Marco says, dream, live, and achieve. Thank you, Maureen. Aaron says, struggles and self-doubt are normal. I needed to hear that, y'all. Let me stop sharing my screen because that's heavy. I wish I could see all of you, but please listen to Aaron. Struggles and self-doubt are normal part of the process. And we have to not confuse self-doubt with self-reflection. May you always live in self-reflection, but be careful about that liar called self-doubt. Noelia says we should welcome the challenges we encounter. Lismet says we have to forget people that are calling us names and just keep going and dreaming. Oh, that's so hard, Lismet, because sometimes it has entered into our subconscious and I think I'm dumb or fat or ugly or not worthwhile. And I have to unlearn and almost throw up these words and get them out of my system. I have to forgive myself. I can't do everything in the day. I can't be all things to all people. I'm feeling overwhelmed in 2020 as a father of 3, as a husband, as a community member, as someone who runs an organization, with the fires, with my mother being sick, with my mother-in-law being sick, with my people being hospitalized, with people getting COVID. It can feel overwhelming. And so as we close in these last couple of minutes that we have together, Juan Pablo asked me to speak about this. We have to talk about mental health and mental wealth. That above everything, as you are thinking about your career, as you're thinking about your path, your life purpose, as you're thinking about all that, may you never forget your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And when it comes to mental health, you have the power every day to take a really deep breath like this and hold it and breathe out a few seconds later. And there's power in that. Because you send messages to a stressed out brain, and you send messages to a part of your brain called the amygdala that is not sure if this is a real fear or not, because there's so much going on. And when you take deep breaths, you're sending messages to your brain, everything is okay. I don't know about the future. I can't change the past, but right now I am okay. I am still breathing. We have to asset map, meaning we got to count our blessings, y'all. And if you're like me and sometimes you think you have no blessings, I forget. I forget that I can see. No disrespect to those who can't. I forget that I can hear. I forget that I can speak. I forget that I have hands. I forget that I have a body. I forget that I'm still breathing. I may only notice the cancer and the homelessness and the arrest, but I may not remember that I'm still breathing. And so what does it mean to start my day and my evening, every day and every evening, with counting every single one of my blessings? And then I go to my worries. What am I worried about? What's stressing me out? What is difficult? And as I analyze that, Go ahead and get that out of your system so that you become aware of the thoughts that are trying to trap you. I'm worried about this, 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 and this. And then you want to take those worries and whatever you believe in. Some of you believe in the great spirit or a higher power. Some of you believe in Mother Earth. Some of you believe in yourselves. This is not a religious class. This is not a class with judgment. Whatever you believe in, take your worries to that energy. It could be the energy of the sun, the moon, and the stars. It could be the energy of the great spirit or Mother Earth, or it could be to your own energy. And ask that energy for what you need during these stressful times. And then you got to bring in some ancestors in the room. And what I mean by ancestors is that there's people that have passed. It could be my grandmother Socorro, my grandfather Angel. You may have had an amazing elder, or maybe you didn't. Maybe it's a historical figure. Maybe I dreamed that one of my elders was Malcolm X. And I ask Malcolm X or Harriet Tubman at night, how did you do it? Because I'm freaking out in 2020. And then Harriet comes to me at night and says, my son, half of my body was paralyzed. I had to organize all the way down to Mexico, all the way up to Canada. We dealt with this system of racism. You can deal with it too. And she begins to give advice. And I just have to quiet the mind and listen. And as you quiet the mind, as you count your blessings, as you address your stresses, as you ask for what you need, as you hear from the ancestors, and as you think about all of the things that you're thankful for, your body starts to regulate and you start to calm the body. Make this into a practice and watch it all change. I hope this was useful. I had only 55 minutes with you. To me, they flew. May they be of benefit. You have my cell phone number. You have my email. As I close off and I transition to the team that has put this together, thank you, Pasadena City College. Thank you to everybody in career services. Thank you to every counselor, every staff member. Thank you to every person, including Sheila, Alex, Juan Pablo. Oh, so many to thank. Miriam, so much of this community for making this happen. I would like to pass this back to Sheila Rose, and it's been the honor of my life to be here with you. If I never get to have another day or a day like this, thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity. I'm not fatalistic, but I am realistic that all my days are not promised, but I'm going to live my life to the fullest. Bless you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Thank you so much for your words of inspiration and passion. And we hope we will be able to invite you back to Pasadena City College soon. And a happy Mexican Independence Day to everyone. It's time to go and celebrate, and we will see all of our students back tomorrow for the last day of our Career Community Social Justice Conference. Thank you, everyone, and have a safe and healthy night. Bye-bye.
Bye, Sheila.